Listen, y'all. I never thought I'd see the day the Braxton sisters turned on each other. We're talking stolen credit cards, secret affairs, and a cease and desist that tore the whole family apart. Grab your tea, 'cause this story, it's hotter than we've ever seen before. Now, I'm not one to gossip, but when the tea's piping hot, you know I'm going to pour it. Welcome to Chronicles Speaks. Let's set the stage, because this one deserves a little background. The Braxton family has long been seen as one of the most talented and tight-knit clans in entertainment. With Toni Braxton leading the way as an R&B legend and her sisters carving out their own careers, the Braxtons became symbols of sisterhood, faith, and perseverance. But as anyone who's ever lived in a big, opinionated family knows, love and loyalty don't always keep the peace. Beneath the smiles, the harmonies, and the reality TV gloss, real tension has been simmering for years. I never imagined the day would come when the Braxtons, yes, those Braxtons, would find themselves in full-blown public chaos. What began as quiet family disagreements has exploded into a storm of allegations. Stolen money, sister-on-sister betrayal, and the jaw-dropping claim that Tamar may have been involved with one of Toni's exes. This isn't your average celebrity feud. This is a family unraveling under the weight of fame, frustration, and old wounds that never fully healed. And trust me, this is the kind of tea you sip carefully, because every headline has layers, and every accusation comes from somewhere deep within years of shared love, resentment, and rivalry. In the latest episode of The Braxtons, Tamar and Tawanda's relationship reaches a breaking point that no one could have seen coming. Tamar, never one to mince words, drops a bomb in front of the cameras. She says she knows exactly where Tawanda lives, because she's the one who paid the down payment on the house. Imagine being a sibling, sitting across from your sister, and hearing her say that on national television. That's not just family business, that's a wound aired for the world. But Tamar doesn't stop there. She goes on to claim that Tawanda has been using her credit cards for years, without permission. Allegedly, this wasn't a one-time misunderstanding or a minor financial mix-up. It's painted as an ongoing pattern, a betrayal that left Tamar feeling used by someone she's always loved and supported. Now, if you've followed the Braxton family over the years, you know that Tamar is emotional, outspoken, and deeply passionate. But she's also been through her share of personal struggles, mental health challenges, heartbreaks, and the pressure of living in her sister's legendary shadow. So when she confronts someone, especially family, she often brings years of bottled-up hurt with her. Tawanda, on the other hand, is no pushover. She's always been seen as level-headed, the sister who tries to stay grounded and diplomatic. But on this day, she wasn't having it. She clapped back hard, accusing Tamar of doing her own share of damage, including, according to Tawanda, being romantically involved with one of Toni Braxton's exes. That accusation alone stopped the internet in its tracks. Fans flooded timelines trying to guess who Tawanda meant, though names were never confirmed. Still, the mere suggestion that Tamar crossed that kind of line sent shockwaves through the fandom. Tamar, for her part, immediately denied it, firing back that Tawanda was twisting the truth. The back and forth was tense, raw, and, let's be honest, hard to watch. It's tempting to dismiss all this as reality TV drama, but anyone who's watched this family knows these aren't just scripted scenes. The Braxtons' pain runs deep. There's history here, decades of competition, misunderstandings, and hurt feelings. This feud didn't appear overnight. According to insiders, the sisters' communication had already broken down long before cameras started rolling. There were long stretches, sometimes months, where Tamar and Tawanda reportedly didn't speak unless the show required it. And when they did gather for family milestones or events, like Tawanda's Tulum bridal celebration, emotions were still tense. Invitations were missed, feelings were hurt, and certain family members felt left out or unappreciated. When love turns into distance and resentment, family can start to feel like a minefield, especially when every argument has an audience. The cameras might turn off at night, but the internet never sleeps. Every clip, every tweet, every facial expression gets analyzed and shared. Suddenly, private wounds become public entertainment. And that's what makes this so complicated, because the Braxtons are not just sisters. They're also a brand. Their family name is tied to music, television, business, and reputation. So when internal chaos spills out into the world, it doesn't just damage relationships. It can shake careers. But the real heartbreak in this story isn't about credit cards or celebrity gossip. It's about what happens when a family that's already endured so much, including loss and generational pain, begins to fracture in public. Speaking of loss, we can't forget their niece Ashley, Michael Braxton's daughter. Years ago, she came forward with a serious and deeply troubling claim. She alleged that Trina's late ex-husband, Gabe, sent her inappropriate text messages when she was just 16. Let's pause there for a moment, because that's not just messy family drama. That's a life-altering accusation that demands care, evidence, and empathy. Ashley said the text came while she was still a minor. If that's true, it raises huge moral and legal questions, not just for the family, but for the way this entire situation was handled. To date, no verified screenshots or official reports have surfaced publicly, but Tamar reportedly believed Ashley, and she wanted to give her a platform to share her experience and find healing. The issue is, not everyone in the family agreed with that decision. Some wanted to protect their privacy, while others feared reopening old wounds that were better left alone. It's one thing to handle trauma privately, it's another to have it dissected online, where strangers can turn pain into clickbait. Still, the conversation about Ashley's story speaks to something much bigger than one family's troubles. It highlights how fame can both amplify and suppress truth. On one hand, celebrities have the power to bring light to uncomfortable issues. On the other, they face immense pressure to maintain control of their image, even when silence hurts more than honesty. And then there's the layer of grief. Gabe's passing complicates everything. With him gone, there's no chance for a direct response or resolution. The people left behind, the Braxtons themselves, are now forced to navigate heartbreak, reputation, and legality all at once. When you step back, this isn't just a story about the Braxton family. It's a reflection of what happens when trauma meets fame. When unresolved pain collides with cameras, it rarely ends cleanly. The audience gets the highlights, the viral clips, and the quotes. But what they don't see are the sleepless nights, the guilt, and the quiet apologies that never make it to air.
I feel like people were trying to do a good job of trying to shut me up and to try to make me be quiet, and I can understand. But at the same time, this is why I say tell your story, is because, there's no story that you could put out about me that's going to make me be quiet.
In a sense, the Braxtons has always been more than a reality show. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when family dynamics become public property. The laughter, the tears, the love, all of it gets edited, packaged, and sold. And somewhere along the way, the line between real life and reality TV blurs, until nobody can tell where the performance ends and the truth begins. So when Tamar says she's hurt, or Tawanda defends herself, or Toni steps in with that unshakable calm, it's easy to forget these are not just characters, they're sisters. They grew up together, they buried loved ones together. They've carried the same last name through both applause and controversy. And yet, here they are, unraveling on screen, their most vulnerable moments, immortalized in episodes that fans can replay forever. These are not just messy family rumors. They're emotional scars that reveal how even the strongest families can break under pressure. They show how love and fame don't always mix, and how silence can sometimes do more harm than words. While the world might see the Braxtons as reality stars, what they truly are, at their core, is human. Sisters trying to figure it out. Daughters navigating legacy. Women balancing forgiveness, pride, and survival. And though the cameras might capture the chaos, what they'll never fully show is the truth behind it. The tears that fall off camera, the phone calls that never get answered, and the hope that maybe, one day, this family will find peace again.
I have been molested, by both sides of my family. And it's nothing I ever talked about. And I never thought that I would sit around a table with Ayanna, who's here to talk about, me and my sisters and their problems, and to bring that up and sex shame me basically in front of everybody.
The latest twist in this unfolding family saga came with a message Tamar says she received from her father. According to her, he told her to zip it up tight, not to speak his name, not to mention the household, not to say a word. He'd already hired a lawyer, she said, warning her that any further discussion could lead to legal action. It's a heavy development layered over an already painful situation. Gabe's passing complicates things even more. With him no longer here, there's no chance for direct answers or defense, leaving only the living to navigate a tangled mix of grief, legal caution, and public scrutiny. Tamar revealed that when she tried to give Ashley a platform, inviting her onto a podcast to share her side of the story, she was met not with support, but with a cease and desist letter. "Y'all sent me a cease and desist and tried to destroy my business," she said, clearly frustrated. And honestly, a cease and desist isn't something small. It signals serious legal boundaries, and in this case, it became the spark that deepened the divide between Tamar and her sisters. So, where does this leave them? Is this truly about seeking justice, or about managing jurisdiction and image? Sometimes families stay silent not because they don't care, but because legal advisors tell them to. They're warned, if it can't be verified or meet broadcast standards, don't air it. Other times, that silence serves to protect reputations, or shield relatives who never agreed to have their pain revisited under the glare of reality TV. In the end, it's a delicate dance between truth, trauma, and the price of public exposure. In front of everyone, the family's long-buried issues finally spilled into the open. Tamar, perhaps the one aunt who could truly empathize with Ashley's pain, seemed ready to give her niece space to speak her truth. She wanted to help Ashley tell her story, even if that meant doing it publicly. But the rest of the family wasn't on board. They wanted to keep things quiet, tucked away where they'd always been. And now that silence has shattered. Accusations are flying left and right. Tamar claims Tawanda used her credit cards for years and needed help with a down payment on her home. In turn, Tawanda fires back, accusing Tamar of sleeping with one of Toni's exes. And honestly, you have to wonder, why do these secrets only surface when tempers flare? It's not like there weren't warnings. The late Tracy Braxton once hinted that Tawanda could be the villain in the family dynamic. And the records don't help her image much. Reports show that in 2005, Tawanda was arrested in Atlanta for forgery and theft by receiving. Even Toni's assistant Zoe once accused her of stealing their mother's SSI check. Tawanda didn't exactly deny it. She just deflected, asking, "Why you always talking about me, though?" The online exchanges have gotten messy, too. Tawanda clapped back at critics with hashtags like "or happy successful still working ladybug" and sarcastically called people stalkers. But Zoe wasn't letting that slide, replying, "I guess for the same reason you talk about your sisters and mother behind their backs." Meanwhile, paperwork speaks louder than tweets. According to Tawanda's Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing, she owed more than $500,000. And yes, $35,000 of that came from Tamar, who loaned her the money for her home's down payment. So when Tamar said, "I know where you live, I paid your down payment," it wasn't just shade, it was fact. In simple terms, Tamar's energy seems to be, stop treating me like I don't matter, then coming to me when you need my money. And then there's Toni, the quiet storm of the Braxton family. Her romantic life has always been handled with discretion. No names were dropped, no exes identified, and that's intentional. Whatever Tamar allegedly said last clearly hit a nerve, though, because Toni's reaction said it all. That look, that pause, carried the kind of warning only an older sister can give. Little girl, you must not know who you're messing with. At the end of the day, nobody wins when family turns on family, especially under the harsh, unblinking lights of reality TV. What's supposed to be entertainment often becomes exploitation, and the emotional cost is always higher than the ratings suggest. For all their talent, beauty, and legacy, it's still hard to watch the Braxtons, one of music's most beloved families, unravel in front of millions. Toni Braxton isn't just a superstar. She's a cultural pillar, an icon who helped shape R&B in the 90s and beyond. Her voice carried generations through heartbreak, resilience, and self-discovery. So to see her family's name caught in so much public drama feels disheartening. She's worked decades to build a legacy defined by elegance and strength. But these recent feuds risk overshadowing the grace that made the Braxton name golden in the first place. Reality TV has a strange way of turning love into leverage. What begins as a show about family unity and personal growth can quickly morph into a stage where pain sells and vulnerability becomes a storyline. When the cameras are rolling, every tear, every argument, and every awkward silence becomes content. And for the Braxtons, who've spent years letting the world peek into their personal lives, that line between authenticity and entertainment has blurred beyond recognition. Think about it. For most families, conflict happens behind closed doors. You argue, you cry, you make up, and you move on. But when your life is televised, there's no moving on quietly. Every argument gets edited, clipped, and re-uploaded across the internet, stripped of context, turned into a meme, and shared by people who don't know you but suddenly feel entitled to judge your pain. The Braxtons are living proof of how fame magnifies even the smallest fractures. What might have been a minor disagreement becomes a season-long narrative arc. A misunderstanding between sisters turns into a headline. And the deeper issues, jealousy, resentment, insecurity, unhealed childhood trauma, become fodder for online commentary instead of private healing. And yet, despite all the chaos, there's something deeply human about it. Their story reflects the challenges so many families face, just on a bigger stage. How do you forgive someone who hurt you publicly? How do you set boundaries when love and obligation pull you in opposite directions? And most importantly, how do you protect your peace when the world keeps demanding access to your pain? Toni, as the eldest, has often tried to play peacemaker, keeping things calm, keeping the family image intact. She's the one who carries herself with quiet authority, the kind of presence that doesn't need to shout to be heard. But even she has her limits. Every legend is still human, and no amount of Grammys can shield you from the ache of watching your family implode. Then there's Tamar, bold, unfiltered, emotional, and often misunderstood. For years, she's been painted as the dramatic one, but beneath the loud personality is someone who feels deeply and wants desperately to be heard. When you peel back the headlines, Tamar's pain often comes from the same place many of ours does, feeling unsupported, unseen, or dismissed by the people you love the most. Tawanda, Trina, and Tracy, may she rest in peace, have all carried their own burdens too. Each sister has a story, a wound, a reason for her reactions. And when those stories collide under the pressure of fame, finances, and expectations, it creates a cycle that's hard to break. What's heartbreaking is that the Braxtons once represented something rare, a family of Black women who loved each other publicly, fought hard, and still found ways to lift each other up. Their show gave audiences joy because it wasn't just about the glitz. It was about sisterhood, motherhood, and womanhood, messy and real. But over time, what made them relatable also made them vulnerable. The audience didn't just watch their success. They watched their unraveling. And while it's easy for viewers to say they signed up for it, the truth is more complicated. Fame doesn't come with an emotional instruction manual. When producers are promising visibility, networks are pushing for ratings, and fans are demanding constant transparency, it's nearly impossible to know when you've shared too much, until it's too late. It's also worth noting that the Braxton struggles aren't unique to them. Reality television has a long track record of turning family conflict into a spectacle. We've seen it with countless famous families, from the Kardashians to the Osbournes, where personal boundaries are sacrificed for production value. But the difference with the Braxtons is that their story carries generational weight. These are women who grew up in a deeply religious household, under the pressure of expectation, colorism, and comparison, trying to navigate fame while honoring family. That's not just a storyline, that's survival. So when you see Tamar crying on camera or Toni looking disappointed, understand that those moments aren't just for show. They're fragments of real emotion, shaped by years of pressure to perform perfection. The truth is, when families feud on television, there's rarely a winner. Everyone loses something: trust, dignity, peace of mind. What's left are apologies said too late and relationships that never feel quite the same. The money fades, the ratings drop, and the clips live forever on the internet, replayed by strangers long after the cameras stop rolling. Maybe the saddest part of all is that the Braxtons could have been remembered solely for their incredible musical legacy: Toni's timeless ballads, Tamar's powerhouse vocals, Trina's wit, Tawanda's strength, Tracy's authenticity. Instead, their name is now tied just as much to conflict as to creativity. Still, hope remains. Families fight, but families also heal. Time and perspective have a way of softening even the hardest hearts. Perhaps once the cameras are off and the contracts are done, the Braxton sisters can find their way back to each other. Not as co-stars or public figures, but simply as sisters. Because no matter how deep the wounds go, blood carries memory, and memory can guide you home. At the end of the day, nobody wins when family turns on family. Not the network, not the viewers, and certainly not the people living through the pain. What the Braxtons need, and what so many families need, is grace. Grace to forgive, to listen, to heal without judgment or hashtags. So what do you think about all this Braxton family drama? Is it the cost of fame or the price of unresolved pain? Do you believe reality TV helps families grow, or does it tear them apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. You know how we do. Let's unpack this together, respectfully and thoughtfully. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe, like, and tap that bell so you never miss an update. Because around here, we don't just sip the tea, we understand it. This is Chronicles Speaks, where we talk truth, unpack the drama, and always keep it real.